Hi, I'm Richard Lee, and it's a pleasure for me to talk to you about our next concert. It's one that I'm very, 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 very excited about. There are lots of reasons to be excited. First and foremost, our guest artist is a banjo player, and that may sort of tweak your interest and pique your curiosity. His name is Béla Fleck, and that's a name that you may know as well. Béla Fleck is, well, he's the best banjo player on the planet. He really is. What he can do on that instrument, no one else can. Flying fingers, incredible technique, and he's taken that instrument and made it more than just sort of this, dare I say, humble, slightly hokey, country, bluegrassy kind of instrument. And he's taking it places that it's never really been. And I think this concert's going to feature a good example of that. We're going to perform a concerto for banjo and orchestra called The Impostor. Now, it's a concerto that Béla Fleck wrote himself. It's actually very, very hard. It's hard for him. It's extremely hard for the orchestra. It ain't no walk in the park, and it's going to be a challenge, but it's all worth it because I think one of my roles as music director of the ETSO is to bring new things here. And this is certainly new. I think the Impostor Concerto is only a couple years old, and this whole idea of a banjo concerto is new, and as far as I know, no one else has attempted such a thing before. So come hear this extremely unusual musical collaboration between a banjo player, a phenomenal banjo player, and a classical orchestra, the Impostor Concerto. The trick, of course, once we managed to get Béla Fleck to do his concerto with us, was to figure out what to put with that. I mean, what do you put on a program where you have a banjo concerto? It was really hard to program. And the way I approach this is we're going to open with a piece by Copland called Buckaroo Holiday. And actually, it is written in kind of a folk vernacular, and so is some of Impostor Concerto. And there is one riff in Buckaroo Holiday that really sounds like The Impostor. It's incredible how similar that one sort of riff exists in both pieces, and they sound very similar, so you can listen for that. And we're going to close with the Enigma Variations. And the Enigma Variations, apart from being a wonderful music, is based on a cell, based on a melody that Edward Elgar introduces at the very beginning of the piece. And then he proceeds to present several, I think 13 variations that take this cell and vary it slightly. But you still hear that original bit of melody in each variation. I think the Impostor Concerto is very similar as well. It's built on these sort of cells that Béla Fleck sort of takes and then develops. But you hear that same sort of kernel of music where it all started throughout the entire piece. So in some respects, the compositional sort of techniques that are used in both the concerto, the banjo concerto, and the Enigma Variations are similar. The last thing is that the Enigma Variations is one of the most stunning pieces of music. It is a personal favorite of mine. You know, what is nice about this whole idea of a variation is that you have these little sections, and the sections are invariably sort of short, but you get to hear this, how do I put this? You get to hear these musical nuggets. And each musical nugget is so different than the one that came before it. And the sheer variety, you know, it contains a bewildering array of kind of emotions. And I think that's really the hallmark of that piece of music, is that every 2 minutes you have this incredibly different idea, this incredibly different description and the feeling that's presented. And I think that's extremely unusual and extremely effective. So I hope you come and hear and witness all this put together in one show for you. Thank you.